Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to make a 6-month review of holding the Capital One Savor. We're going to be going over why I got this card, cards that can possibly be compared to this card, and my personal opinion. And if you're new to the channel, my name's Andy. I'm a senior programmer analyst that loves to talk about personal finances. And it just hit me one day, why don't I use my personal skills that I use on a day-to-day job into my personal finances and document it on YouTube? So here in this channel, I like to talk about me budgeting, the credit cards that I apply, and just to help you guys learn and maximize what credit cards offer. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. Starting off, we're going to be going over the benefits of this card. And if you already know what those benefits are, I am going to be doing timestamps in the description box below, just in case you want to skip over to the parts that we're going to be going more in depth in. As for the ones that are still watching this segment, there is currently still a $200 sign-on bonus when you do a minimum spend of $500 within the first 3 months. Now, you may be thinking, how difficult can it be? Well, specifically this card, it's actually quite easy. You get 3% cash back on groceries, 3% cash back on dining, 3% cash back on entertainment, and 3% cash back on streaming services. And you may be thinking, well, man, like that's a lot of categories you get. And this is why a lot of people tend to like the Capital One Savor. It's just simply because of the fact that you get all those categories at a 0 annual fee. Yes, so you don't even have to pay anything to actually hold this card on you. So as for many other cards that are more premium, to get all those benefits, they either require you to spend $95 to up to $800 to even get close to what this card is providing for you. And if you're a person that likes to travel, there is a 5% cash back on hotels and car rentals. But let's say if you're a beginner and want to know whether this card is worth it, this card also has an additional 1% cash back on all other categories. So if you're a beginner and want to get your feet wet into the credit card space, this card is great, just simply because of the fact that you can use it in all basic categories. And where this card shines is basically the main ones is groceries and dining, because analytics show that with groceries and dining, that's where a lot of people tend to spend a lot of their money. As for why I got this card, I was basically getting into the credit card space. So I got to a point where I wanted to see what can I do to maximize my money. Again, being an analyst here, how can I maximize every dollar I'm spending? So of course I went to Google, I went to YouTube to see what people do to actually maximize every dollar they spend. And the first thing that always came up was about credit cards. And so for me, I grew up in the family that credit cards were like really frowned upon. They're only there to collect you debt or trying to make money off of you. And that's what was instilled in my brain. And so this is why I went to this card. A lot of YouTubers recommended it as a beginner card. So I said, why not give it a shot? If I don't like it, then it's no cost, right? It's 0 annual fee card to even hold. So after my first couple of months of having this card, then I was like, man, well, I just made $20 to $30 each month cash back. And people will argue, well, it's only $20, $30. Well, let me tell you something. Go ahead and tell that person that's saying that to give you $20, $30 a month, and I guarantee you they're gonna tell you, heck no. So that's my argument. So if they want to say that it's only 20, 30 bucks, then so be it, I guess, at this point, because to me that just blows my mind that how do you not care for 20, 30 bucks? Now, what I did with that 20, 30 bucks, I actually added to my savings account. So anything that I got each month from cash back, I'll just move it over to my savings account, just simply because of the fact that I already knew in my head that statement balance that I was already gonna be paying that based off like just pulling the money. In my head is just like, I already spent that money. So like the 20, 30 bucks, you know, it was just like a plus. I didn't want to use it to my statement balance. You can do that too. It's completely up to you. Just for me, for myself, I always ended up just moving it over to my personal savings account to where I can get interest on that specific savings. So that's a whole other ball game too, talking about high yield savings accounts. But just for this video, I was getting up to 4% cash back, not cash back, but 4% interest rate on all my money in my savings account. So for me, it benefited me a lot more just to have it set up that way. So this actually continued to add to my journey. So now that I had this card, it made me learn a lot about the credit cards and ended up making me actually get up to 6 cards now. Now, if we're comparing this card to other credit cards that are out there, there is a couple out there that I would say is kind of compatible with this card, but there are fine print within those specific cards. The first one being the City Custom Cash. As for the City Custom Cash, you're actually getting 5% cash back on your highest spend category. Well, now you'd probably be thinking, well, why don't I just get that card if I'm gonna be getting 5% cash back? Yes, it sounds good, but in the fine print, it's actually $500 per month. So after that $500, then you would start getting 1% cash back. But do also keep in mind that all other categories that are on this card that are not in your highest spends, it's gonna be coming back down to 1%. So for example, if you compare the City Custom Cash and the Savor, you're gonna get 3% on dining, 3% on groceries, and 3% on entertainment. And then if you go to the City Custom Cash, you're only gonna get 5% of the highest category, so we're just gonna set it up to where it's just, let's say, the groceries. So it's 5% on groceries, but up to $500. So after you go past that $500, it's only gonna be 1%. And if you go dining, it's only 1%, entertainment's 1%, and all other purchases are 1%. So this is where you kind of pick and choose what is going to be benefiting you. And if, let's say, if you already bank with Citi, then probably that card may be better for you because you already have like a business relationship specifically with that bank. Now, it's completely up to you. I think still the Savor one will probably be still coming up on top because those categories are completely unlimited. Now, for the other card that actually competes with this is actually going to be a travel card in my book, is considered the Amex Gold. So the Amex Gold is going to be a $325 annual fee card. And you're probably thinking, well, why would I want to spend $325? Just for short sake is if you understand how the travel stuff works, this card kind of helps you out a lot, especially if you know how to maximize your travel partners for flying and booking hotels. But let me just go ahead and give you a breakdown if you are a person that likes to travel. With the American Express Gold Card, you do get 4x points at restaurants, 4x points on groceries, and that's where this card kind of beats the Savor. But if you're new into this space and don't want to spend an annual fee, this again is where the Capital One Savor kind of shines because it's a 0 annual fee. And let's say you're only using the American Express Gold Card and you're not traveling, you're not getting your full benefits. There are like coupons on there. People tend to say they use other coupons. For me, I don't even think about getting an Amex Gold Card just simply because of the fact that fee is too high. And I'm not going to be using all the coupons, is what they call them, is on their card that I wouldn't even use on a day-to-day. In my opinion, the Capital One Savor is a great card to have on hand, especially having a 0 annual fee and having all those spending multipliers. And it just blows my mind that a lot of people look over this card because people rather get the Amex Gold just for a status to say that you have the Amex Gold. To me, it just blows my mind that people do that. So let's say later down the line you want to get into the traveling space, you can actually transfer your Capital One Savor cash back into points with a venture card. So now just to explain how that works, it's called the Capital One Duo. You're actually able to transfer all those points over to one of those cards that open up transfer partners to actually travel for free, book hotels, get discounts on flights. It's a whole other ball game. But let's say if you're just starting and you want to get into the credit card game, I recommend starting off with this card, learn how it works. Remember to always pay your statement balance in full. That way you understand that, okay, this is how it works. And if you get comfortable, and let's say you want to get another card that gives you a different category, and this is where your credit card game starts expanding, you start maximizing every multiplier you spend on the day-to-day. But if you do want to be more interested on the Venture X and you want to see me apply for the card, it's going to be here on the top right corner. But as always, let's try to keep things simple, and I'll see you on the next one.